Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crisc that is certified in the Risk and Information System Control Part 8 Domain 2 of IT Risk Assessment. In this part, we'll cover the following topics where in the world of continuity and the business continuity and organizational resiliency. Today, we are embarking on the journey through the intricate web of topics that form the backbone of modern business survival and the success. In this episode, we will explore the critical aspect of the business continuity and organizational resiliency. These concepts are paramount in ensuring that the businesses can not only weather storm but thrive in an ever-changing landscape. We'll also discuss the regulatory and contractual obligations, highlighting the importance of the compliance in the today's interconnected world. Moreover, we'll delve into the world of strategic investment. How can your organization strategically allocate resources to enhance the resilience? What are the key considerations when making these investments? Right? But we won't stop here. We'll go beyond the business impact and take a closer look at the business impact analysis and the risk assessment. In this context of risk, we will explore inherent, residual, and the current risk. What are the difference between them and how can a nuanced understanding of these concepts guide your decision-making process? We'll break it down for you. So whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned business leader or simply curious about the intricate world of business continuity and organizational resiliency, you are in the right place. Stay tuned as we unpack these topics and provide you with the insight and strategies to fortify your organization against the challenges of today's and tomorrow. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Let's embark on this enlightened journey together. Right? Okay, friends, let's start with the first topic, that is of business continuity and organization resiliency. Friends, this business continuity and discusses the concept of business impact analysis and its role of classifying the essential business activities and resources within an organization. Right? Business impact analysis is a process that helps the organization classify and understand their critical business activities and the resources required to deliver the essential services. Right? Let's take an example. If a retail company relies heavily on online sales, the business impact analysis process would identify the key activities and the resources necessary for maintaining the e-commerce platform and ensuring uninterrupted sales. Right? Next, we can say that the business impact analysis process involves the documenting key processes, practices, activities, and the resources needed to achieve the organization goal and objectives. Right? In this context of the hospital, the business impact analysis process might document the critical processes related to the patient care, such as emergency room, operation, and surgical procedures. Similarly, next, the business impact analysis can uncover previously known factors that may impact the organization. It helps to identify the potential risk and vulnerabilities that were not previously considered. During the business impact analysis process, an organization might discover that its supply chain for a critical component is vulnerable to disruption, leading to the need for the contingency planning. And at last, we can say that the business impact analysis process help to identify which processes and the resources are critical to the organization regardless of the type of incident that may occur. Right? Identifying the critical processes might involve the determining which financial transactions must be processed without interruption to ensure the organization financial stability. Right? To summarize everything, we can say that the business impact analysis is a crucial process for organization to classify and understand their essential business activities and resources. It helps document the processes, uncover hidden risk, and identify the critical functions and resources. ensuring that the organization can continue to achieve its goal and objectives even in the face of incident or disruption. Right? Moving next, let's discuss about the regulatory and contractual obligation. Friends, the importance of using the business impact analysis process to ensure and maintain the required level of availability for specific services in organization, especially in response to statutory, regulatory or contractual requirement. Right? So as per manual, most enterprises are often compelled due to statutory, regulatory or contractual requirement, right, to ensure and maintain a certain level of availability or specific services in light of adversity, right? So friends, many enterprises obligated to meet the specific availability level for their services due to the legal regulations, industry standard or contractual agreement, right? We can understand it like just take an example of a financial institution. Financial institution may be required by a regulatory authority to ensure that online banking services are available to the customer, that is 24/7, right? Similarly, moving further ahead, the business impact analysis process can be used to identify any potential gaps with those requirements and be used to build a roadmap to shore up any discrepancies, right? So in this, the business impact analysis process is employed to identify any potential gap or shortfalls between the required availability level and the organization current capabilities, right? So during business impact analysis, an organization might discover that its disaster recovery plan is insufficient to meet the required service availability levels. Similarly, coming to the building a roadmap, in this we can say that once a gap are identified, the business impact analysis process can be used to create a roadmap for addressing those discrepancies. And this roadmap outline the steps and actions needed to enhance the availability, right? A roadmap might include the investment in redundant infrastructure, improved backup system, or enhanced cybersecurity measures to ensure service availability, right? Moving further ahead, so this ensures that the senior management had sufficient detail around capabilities and a thorough understanding of the obligation that are required to meet, right? So the result of the business impact analysis process provide the senior management with detailed insight into the organization capabilities and its obligation regarding service availability, right? Take an example like a senior management can be informed that the organization must maintain a certain level of service availability to comply with the legal requirement or a contractual agreement, right? Next, this will enable the appropriate level of planning and preparation prior to an incident while at the same time ensuring conformance with the requirement of the organization has agreed to satisfy. So friends, armed with the information from the business impact analysis, senior management can engage in the appropriate planning and preparation measures before an incident occurs, right? If the business impact analysis reveals a gap in the data backup procedure, senior management can allocate resources to improve the data backup and recovery process, right? And similarly, on the ensuring conformance, we can say that the business impact analysis help to ensure that the organization conforms to the requirement it has agreed to satisfy, whether they are legal, regulatory or contractual in nature. So by addressing the gaps identified in the business impact analysis, the organization can demonstrate its commitment to meeting services availability requirements, right? So overall, we can say that the business impact analysis process is instrumental in helping organization to align their service availability with statutory, regulatory or contractual requirement. So by identifying gaps, creating roadmap and informing senior management and enabling the planning and preparation, business impact analysis ensures that the organization meet their obligations and are well prepared to maintain service availability even in the face of adversity. right? Coming and discussing about the strategic investment. Friends, it discusses the significance of the business impact analysis process in helping organization make informed decisions about where and how to invest in mitigating risk and ensuring the business continuity. Right? Let's discuss the first point, that is informed investment decisions. Friends, making decision about the investment, especially in the risk mitigation and business continuity, is often met with the skepticism and scrutiny by various stakeholders. So when considering investment in disaster recovery infrastructure, decision makers may question the allocation of resources and the potential return on investment. Right? Next, time cost of downtime. Friends, the business impact analysis process provide a valuable capability by allowing organizations to calculate and tie the cost of downtime to specific incidents or disruption. So by using business impact analysis data, an organization can estimate the financial impact of a server outage on e-commerce sales or customer satisfaction and reputation. Next, understanding a range of impact. Friends, the business impact analysis goes beyond the financial implication. It helps organization to understand a wide range of impact associated with an incident, which includes organizational, reputational, and brand impact. So, by taking an example, we can understand a data breach may not only result in the financial losses but also damage the organization reputation and erode the customer trust. Moving next, developing the business cases. Business cases in this, the business impact analysis deliverables enables the organization to create the business cases that justify investment in mitigating risk and ensuring business continuity. So a business case might outline the potential financial losses, reputational damage, and regulatory fines that could result from a cybersecurity breach, making a strong argument for cybersecurity investment. Right? And at last, identifying and implementing capabilities. Friends, with the organization, with the insight from the business impact analysis, the organization can identify the specific capabilities and measures required to meet the recovery objectives in a financially sound manner. Based on the business impact analysis finding, an organization might decide to invest in the redundant data center, backup system, and cybersecurity enhancement to minimize the impact of incident. So overall, we can understand that the business impact analysis process provides the organization with a comprehensive understanding of the impact associated with incidents beyond just financial aspects. It helps in creating the business cases that justify in investment in the risk mitigation and business continuity. And by identifying the right capabilities and measures, organization can ensure that they are well prepared to recover from the incidents while maintaining financial stability and preserving their reputation and brand. Right? Moving further ahead, let's discuss about the business beyond impact. Friends, the primary purpose of the business impact analysis process is to assess, right, and determine the impact of the would be experienced if an incident disrupt the normal business operation. Right? By understanding, we can say that the business impact analysis help to assess the financial, operational, and reputational impact of a data center outage on an e-commerce company. Next, informing business continuity planning. Friends, the business impact analysis should also inform the business continuity and organization resiliency planning effort by identifying and necessary control to safeguard the critical business function and resources. In this, we can say that the business impact analysis finding may lead to the development of a specific plan to ensure the continuity of core financial process during a disaster. Next, integration with the IT disaster recovery. Friends, the business impact analysis process should serve as a starting point for guiding IT disaster recovery planning activities. It helps in verifying recovery time objectives, recovery point objectives, service delivery objectives, and maximum tolerable downtime. Right? In this, we can say that the business impact analysis might reveal that the customer support operation need to be restored within 4 hours of an incident, guiding IT recovery planning effort. Next, resource identification. In this, the business impact analysis should capture all the resources needed to continue operations even when they are in a diminished capacity. So friends, business impact analysis should also capture all the resources needed to continue operations even when the functioning at a diminished capacity during or after an incident. By taking an example, we can say that the business impact analysis might identify the minimum staffing and technology requirement for maintaining essential functions in a reduced operational mode. Right? And at last, coming to the additional benefits, we can say that beyond the primary focus, the business impact analysis process offers the several additional benefits, which includes identifying the existing control in the place, identifying current weaknesses and vulnerabilities that need mitigation, identify key threat to the businesses that may require risk management strategies, documenting current recovery methods and the processes, determining team and the staffing requirement for recovery effort, validating and verifying internal and external contact information, defining clear recovery objectives for different functions, and at last, identifying gaps in the capability or system that need improvement or additional resources. We can understand it like just take an example that a business impact analysis may uncover the vulnerabilities in the organization supply chain, helping the risk management team to develop strategies to mitigate the supply chain risk. Right? To summarize everything, we can say that the business impact analysis is a comprehensive effort that not only assess the impact of incident on an organization but also inform the business continuity or IT disaster recovery or risk management and resource planning. It provides the valuable insight into an organization vulnerabilities, threat control and recovery capabilities, helping it to better prepare for and respond to the disruptions. Moving further ahead, let's discuss about the business impact analysis and risk assessment. Friends, there are two types like business impact analysis and risk assessment. Let's understand the first and foremost the differences between the both of them. First, that a business impact analysis purpose. That the business impact analysis is primarily used to establish requirement for business continuity effort. Right? Its focus area like business impact analysis focuses on understanding the impacts of disruption on an organization operations and services. Next is the key activity like business impact analysis involve the identifying resources dependency, tracing this dependency to investment to potential impact on the services and justifying investment needed to address and recover from the disruption. By taking an example, we can understand like a business impact analysis assesses how a data center outage would impact e-commerce sales, customer service and reputation and determine the financial investment required for the recovery. Next, coming to the risk assessment, the purpose of the risk assessment aims to understand the threat faced by an organization and assess the associated risk. It looks at the threat themselves like likelihood, that is probability, and the potential impact on the organization. Its key activities like a risk assessment involve identifying threats, evaluating and the likelihood and impact of these threats, and developing the strategies to decrease the likelihood or mitigate the impact of these risks. By taking an example, we can say that the risk assessment assess the likelihood and impact of a cybersecurity breach, identifying vulnerabilities and proposing the security measures to reduce the risk, right? To summarize, we can say while both the business impact analysis and the risk assessment are critical component of the organization, right? risk assessment and the business continuity planning, they serve the different purpose, right? So business impact analysis is primarily concerned with understanding how disruption affect the organization ability to deliver services and justifying investment for business continuity, while risk assessment on the other hand focuses on identifying threats, assessing the likelihood and impact of these threats, and developing risk mitigation strategies, right? So together, these activities provide a comprehensive approach to managing risk and ensuring the continuity of critical business operations in the face of potential disruption. And at last, let's discuss about the today's last topic, that is inherent, current and residual risk. Friends, risk is unavoidable in business. Risk is inherent in an enterprise. Some businesses process may have a higher level of risk than other, and the degree of the risk varies from one activity, product or services to another. Friends, the risk practitioner should understand the risk and be able to assess and respond to any risk that lies outside the organizational risk appetite in a way that reduces it to an acceptable level. Friends, risk is an inherent part of the business operation and it is present in everything that an enterprise does, right? Starting a new product line carries inherent risk such as market acceptance, product challenges, and competition, right? Different business processes, activities, products, or services may carry varying level of risk. Some may have a higher risk profile than other, right? Example, manufacturing processes may have a higher inherent risk due to safety and quality concern compared to the administrative task, right? Similarly, a risk practitioner should have the ability to understand, assess, and respond to risks that fall outside the organizational risk appetite. They aim to reduce such risk to an acceptable level. By taking an example, we can say that the risk practitioner assess the potential financial impact of a supplier's bankruptcy and develop strategies to mitigate this risk. There are three key concepts related to the risk management, that is inherent risk, the risk that as it is exists, residual risk, the remaining risk after mitigation effort, and the current risk, that the risk at a specific point in time. Friends, inherent risk might be a higher for a project due to its complexity, but after implementing risk mitigation measures, the residual risk is reduced, right? So mature enterprises can use this concept of inherent, residual and current risk in their decision making process to make informed choices and about the risk tolerance and the risk management strategies, right? So a mature enterprise may decide to accept a certain level of residual risk because it aligns with its risk appetite and overall business goals. So friends, when discussing risk and these concepts, it is important to consider the current need and readiness of the enterprise, right? So in communicating residual risk to the senior management, a risk practitioner should tailor the message to match the organization's current state and preparedness. So we can say that risk is an integral part of business and its level varies across different activities. Skilled risk practitioner understand and manage risk by distinguishing between inherent, residual and current risk. So these concepts are valuable for mature enterprise in making informed decisions about the risk tolerance and mitigation strategies, but it's essential to consider when the organization specific context when communicating these concepts effectively, right? So let's discuss the inherent, current and residual risk one by one. Now in inherent risk is the risk level or exposure, right? Without considering the actions that management has taken or might take, right? This is the risk that is ever present in any chosen course of action that is not specifically avoided, right? So this passage explains the concept of inherent risk, which is the level of risk or exposure associated with a particular course of action without considering any risk mitigation measures or control, right? put in place by management, right? So in this we can find out that inherent risk represent a risk level inherent in specific or activity, irrespective of any actions taken by management to mitigate it, right? So in the context of owning and operating an automobile, inherent risk refer to the risk of being involved in an accident even if the individual has undergone driver's training and vehicle is equipped with safety features like anti-lock brakes and airbags, right? So friends, inherent risk we can take in the everyday life. That is, inherent risk is a concept that applies to various aspects of life, including personal and business activities, right? Like everyday activities like driving a car, owning a home, or even starting a business carry inherent risk that cannot be completely eliminated, right? So inherent risk remain present as long as the activity or situation continues, even if certain control or safety measures are in place, right? So the risk of a car accident persists as long as a person owns and drives a vehicle, regardless of their driving skills and safety features in the car, right? So many activities that carry inherent risk also offer benefits, right, or advantage that make them worthwhile despite the associated risk. Understood? So owning a car provides a benefit of convenient transportation, but it comes with the inherent risk of accident, right? So inherent risk is the baseline level of risk associated with an activity or situation, and it exists independently of any risk reduction measures, right? So it is a fundamental concept in risk management, and understanding inherent risk is essential for making informed decisions and about risk mitigation and risk tolerance. Moving further, next, that is the residual risk. The residual risk is the remaining risk after management has implemented a risk response, which is typically a mitigation activity but may also include risk transfer, right? So residual risk is calculated by subtracting the effectiveness of the risk response, typically a control, from the inherent risk. So if the residual risk associated with a particular control is within the organizational risk appetite, the residual risk should be accepted. Otherwise, an additional response is needed, right? So this passage explains the concept of residual risk, which is the level of the risk that remains after management has implemented a risk response, typically through mitigation activities or risk transfer. So friends, residual risk represent the remaining level of risk after the management has taken the respond or to mitigate the initial risk, right? Let's understand with an example. Like in the context of automobile insurance, residual risk refer to the risk that remain even after increasing the insurance coverage, adding safety features and imposing driving restrictions, right? So residual risk, as the paragraph says, that it is calculated by subtracting the effectiveness of the risk response, which is often a control or mitigation measures, from the initial inherent risk. Like if the inherent risk of a car accident is reduced by adding the safety feature, the difference between the inherent risk and a risk reduced by these features represent the residual risk. Now the third line, it says the acceptance of residual risk. Friends, if the residual risk associated with a particular risk response falls within the organization risk appetite, it is considered acceptable and no further action may be required. Similarly, if the residual risk of an accident, even with added safety features, is within an individual risk tolerance, they may choose to accept it, right? And last is the additional response. It states that if the residual risk exceeds the organization or individual risk appetite, additional risk response may be necessary to further reduce the risk, right? Let's take an example, that if the residual risk of an accident remains high despite safety measures, additional steps like further restrictions on driving may be needed, right? So if and at last and last point is effectiveness of control, right? So effectiveness of control of the risk response determine the extent to which the inherent risk is reduced, right? Like safety features and driving restrictions are controls implemented to reduce the residual risk of accident, but they do not eliminate the inherent risk entirely. So in summary, we can say that the residual risk is the risk that remains after the risk management action has been taken, right? So it is an important concept in the risk management, as organization and individuals must assess whether the remaining risk is acceptable within their risk tolerance. So if the residual risk is within acceptable limit, it may be accepted, but if it exceeds those limits, additional risk response may be required to further reduce the risk, right? Moving to the next, that is current risk. Friends, as per the current risk, as per ISACA review manual, when discussing the potential benefit of taking a specific risk response, the risk practitioner typically uses the term residual risk, right? Now friends, what is residual risk? Residual risk is a term, right, used in a predictive sense. It refers to the remaining risk that will exist after a specific risk response action, such as risk acceptance, mitigation, or transfer has been effectively implemented. So after implementing safety features in a car, the remaining risk of an accident is the residual risk, right? Moving to the slide, in the predictive senses, referring to the remaining risk that will exist after a given response has been properly implemented, right? Next, the usage of current risk, right? Now, current risk tend to create confusion in the organization that do not have established and mature risk management function, as this is the term used to describe the current point in time risk associated with an asset, where both action taken and those still pending are taken into consideration. So friends, current risk, and that is point in time. Friends, the current risk refer to the risk at a specific point in time, considering the threat environment in which an asset is currently exposed. It takes into account both action that have already been taken and those that are still pending. Just take it an example that a risk of an accident while car is parked in a private driveway is the current risk at the moment, and it acknowledges the present circumstances and the location, right? Next is the usage in the risk management, right? So friends, residual risk is a forward looking term when discussing the potential outcome of the risk response action. It helps to assess the level of the risk that will persist after those actions have been completed, right? Similarly, current risk is a term used to describe the existing risk at a specific moment in time, considering the current condition and environment, right? And at last, that is risk environment consideration. Friends, current risk takes into the account the immediate surroundings and context, such as the location of an asset, which can significantly impact the probability and impact of a risk event. So friends, the probability and impact of an accident involving a parked car can vary based on whether it is parked in a private driveway or a public parking lot, right? So friends, in summary, we can say that the residual risk and the current risk are terms used in the risk management to describe different aspects of risk, right? So residual risk looks forward and consider the remaining risk after mitigation effort, while current risk focuses on the risk at a specific moment, accounting for the immediate environment and circumstances, right? So proper usage of these terms enhances the clarity and effectiveness of the risk management practices, right? Friends, here we come to the end of part 8 domain 2 presented by Let's Learn series. Friends, thank you for watching and please do subscribe and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.